Now that the transfer market has finally closed and we're in the middle of an international break, what better time than to analyze Real Madrid's roster for the 21-22 season? Let's get started. What's up, guys? Welcome back to El Merengue Culé. I felt like this would be a really good video to kind of get the season started, and I'm gonna make it into two parts. This first part, which is the video that you're currently watching, will be mainly going one by one, line by line, player by player, analyzing what they have to provide for the team. And then in that second video, we're going to do more of you see two fields on the screen. We're going to be doing more of like the starting lineup and then that B team. If we want to have a team that's going to be able to compete for every single trophy, we want to see that we're going to have a solid team and a solid B team, which we know from back in the day when we won those Champions Leagues, that was the core to our success, having a second team that was able to compete day in, day out. So without further ado, before getting started, make sure you smash the like button right now. Subscribe if you're new to the account. Remember, we are El Merengue Culé. We used to have our old account that we reached 11,000 subscribers, but we got terminated by UEFA, and we're now starting to work our way back up. So make sure you smash the like button and subscribe down below. Let's go ahead and get started with the goalies. So, so obviously you're seeing Courtois and Lunin right here. It's a bit of a... I sometimes feel bad for Lunin because he is such a talented goalkeeper, a young goalkeeper with so much potential to be the starter for Madrid in the future. But right now he has Courtois in front of him, and frankly, he's not going to be getting much playing time. He'll play in Copa del Rey. Last season he didn't really play in La Liga at all because we were always in games that were so tough, and in the position that we were in the league just didn't really give much room for us to experiment with Lunin. So unfortunately, it does kind of feel like we're wasting a little bit of his talent. And to make things worse, Courtois' level has been so good that it doesn't seem like he's going to be stopping anytime soon. So it's not here like, I can't even sit here and be like, oh, Lunin is going to get playing time, in a few seasons because Courtois is not stopping. So Courtois is, we're really blessed to have such a good goalie back there. I'm glad that after Keylor Navas left, he was really able to find the right footing, and he's just been solid back there. So I'm not going to talk any more about the goalies. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the defenders. Starting with Dani Carvajal, like you are seeing on the screen, hopefully right there pretty nicely. Dani Carvajal recently came back from injury. We recently signed him into a new contract, a new long-term contract. And at first I was really skeptical because this is a guy that has been really injury prone the past few seasons and has really left a big question mark, not in his abilities, but in his ability to stay healthy and perform for the team. When I know what the guy's capable of. He's shown me many times. And whenever he's healthy, he continues to perform. Shoot, this last game, are the 3 points were because of Dani Carvajal. The question is, can he stay healthy? That is going to be something that we kind of analyze at the end of the season. If he stays healthy, we have a right back for the season and we should be fine. Next up, Militao, and I'm just going to kind of talk about the center backs as a whole. Militao, Alaba, Vallejo ends up being our fourth center back, and Nacho, all of the ones that are next to each other right here, number 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, who are going to be our starter center backs? It's gonna be a difficult one. It's gonna kind of come down to their form because there's no hierarchy really here. Alaba's coming in. Militao is still rising from the end of last season. There's a lot of question marks. Can he keep up that level that he showed us last year against Liverpool? In those big Champions League games against Barcelona, against Sevilla, those big games where he would step up and he was a monster. Can he keep that up? It's gonna be a question. Honestly, the first 3 La Liga games so far definitely has moments where he shows me that he has so much skill, so much potential. He goes in hard to tackles, wins the ball back. So yeah, Militao is just the type of guy that has so much potential for us, has shown us. But I'm not gonna lie, there are times where he kind of loses focus in the middle of games and does something really fucking stupid, and you're just like, Militao, come on. But here's what I'm gonna say. We've been out here. If you've been watching Real Madrid for a while, you knew Sergio Ramos had his fuck ups. You knew Varane had his fuck ups. So at the same time, we're gonna have to be patient for Militao when he does have his fuck ups. It's part of the game. Defenders are prone to mistakes, and they will happen. Alaba, for example, he had that one. Okay, I don't know if it was necessarily a mistake, but The goal that we conceded against Levante, where they crossed the ball in and then it kind of hit Alaba's face, and then it ended up being a goal for Levante after that. And you could say that Alaba wasn't kind of paying attention enough to the ball and just kind of hit him in the face. Yes, it's a little bit unlucky, but these mistakes can happen. But things aside, Alaba is a phenomenal player. I am so happy that we brought him in. Imagine if we would have let Ramos go and Varane go without bringing in Alaba, then we would really be in trouble here. So he's a guy that I know will perform the moment he steps on the pitch. I'm not too worried about him, you know, choking or anything like that. If he was more of an attacking position, maybe, but Alaba, super solid buy. Vallejo, I don't want to spend a lot of this video talking about Vallejo. Was loaned to Granada, wasn't even able to become a starter for that team. Played for Spain, messed up a lot. I hope he keeps a safe distance from the pitch this season, and then we can forget about him. Nacho, one of the most loyal players, if not the most loyal player on this whole squad. He will do whatever the coach tells him to do. If the coach says, I need you to get on the field and get it done, he will. If the coach says, listen, I need to play Alaba and Militao today, and I need you to stay back on the bench, he'll be like, yes sir, whatever you need, I will do. I love the fucking guy. I love the guy. All I have to say about him is I hope he stays away from injuries. He's the type of player that the moment he starts getting injured in the season, you know it's going to be a rough season for him. Last season he was able to stay healthy and it was a really good season for him. Let's hope the same for this one. Next up we have Marcelo. Marcelito. I mean, you gotta love the guy, right? He is one of our legends, but at the same time, it's like, dude, why are you still on this team? You know you're hurting the team by being on this team. It's frustrating. And on top of that, he's the captain now. So it's like Ancelotti has this like added pressure of, well, maybe he needs to play because he's the captain, which I surely hope he doesn't fall under that pressure because Marcelo is hurting us if he plays out there. I'm sorry, guys, he's hurting us. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think Marcelo's going to be able to reach the level that he once reached 4 or 5 seasons ago under Ancelotti and Zidane, or is he actually gone? Let me know what you think down in the comments. But I'm gonna skip Lucas Vázquez for a second, and then I'm gonna talk about Mendy. I put Miguel on there. Miguel wasn't in the official roster of the first team in Real Madrid's website. However, he's still a player that I think is going to get a decent amount of playing time this season, or at least I hope so. In my opinion, the left back position should be in between Mendy or Miguel. Mendy, whenever he comes back from injury, which is getting closer, he should take that starting position, and if he stays injury free, which I hope he does, he should run away for the rest of the season, hopefully. And if he ever gets injured, I really hope that Ancelotti's first decision is to go for Miguel. You know, so young, so talented, so much potential. He's shown us what he can do every time he plays. He delivers, he's just a solid guy compared to Marcelo. So I really hope Ancelotti doesn't fall under the pressure of playing Marcelo over Miguel whenever Mendy is not available for us. Let's finalize the defenders with Lucas Vázquez, a player who's technically listed as a midfielder, but I think his days as a midfielder, right mid / winger, right wing are far gone. Doesn't really have the creativity offensively, in my opinion. A solid defender though, because he listens to the coach, he listens to instructions, and he's focused for the most of the game. So I think that's also another reason why Real Madrid was okay with loaning out Odriozola and just keeping Lucas Vázquez as our reserve right back. Alrighty, that concludes the defenders. Let's jump on to the midfielders. Toni Kroos, one of our best players on the whole team, but for sure one of our best midfielders. Choosing between Toni Kroos or Luka Modric is probably one of the hardest things I would have to ever do, and I'm not going to do this in this video. However, Toni Kroos has shown us that he's starting to hit a bit of an age, and you know, he just had his first big injury right now. The injury that he has is one that historically tends to be a recurrent one, so it does kind of worry me a little bit. All I hope is that he comes back from injury and he doesn't have these things struggle on all season long. Otherwise, we're not going to be seeing much of Toni Kroos. So let's hope that's not the case, because he is someone that we absolutely need. We've seen these first couple of games in La Liga, how much the team has struggled in the midfield in terms of just keeping control, creating dangerous chances. Toni Kroos is always the guy sending good long balls and just keeping a good tempo of the game. And the same goes for Luka Modric, and that's why they play so much for us, because they're just absolute legends for Real Madrid now. One of the reasons why we won so many Champions Leagues. And Modric is the same. He's like wine. As he ages, he just gets better. He just gets fucking better, and it's insane. no other player gives us the vision, the push that Modric gives to the team. And let's just hope, just like Toni Kroos, he has an injury-free season. Otherwise, it's going to be a little more rough. Casemiro and Valverde are the two other solid midfielders that we for sure have on this team. And starting with Casemiro, I mean, we know he's a shoe-in already. Out there always putting in hard tackles, you know, being the main leader of the team. In my opinion, Casemiro is the true captain of this team, alongside Benzema. Casemiro is just, I love this guy. I love this freaking guy. And we know he's so consistent too. We know what we can expect out of him. Good 4, 5, 6 goals in the season, playing most of the minutes. Usually doesn't get injured. Knock on wood. Let's hope it stays that way. Fucking love the guy. Anyways, let's move on to Valverde. He has shown us his explosion. I think he's already pretty concise as a top midfielder in this sport. So let's just hope he kind of keeps on that trend, right? He doesn't kind of hit a slope. Injuries is the big question mark with him. Last season he had a lot of injuries. And I just kind of want to make sure and hope that he stays away from those. Honestly, it seems to be a recurrent thing that our midfielders just kind of get hurt. And I mean, last year that's why Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro had to play so many minutes. Valverde was hurt for a while. Isco's just someone that you can't trust. We just didn't really have a midfield. So this season, I'm looking at the midfield, and there seems to be a little more players that are playable. Obviously, we have Dani Ceballos coming back from loan in Arsenal, a player that will never be a starter for Real Madrid. He just, in my opinion, doesn't have the skill to be a starter for us day in, day out. But with that being said, he's not a bad player. Pretty good technique, good with the ball at his feet, and he could score a couple goals here and there. So a player that I'm happy to have in the team, actually, as long as he stays injury-free, just like everyone else. I feel like I'm just repeating that over and over, but it's so vital because that was one of our biggest problems last season. Just so many recurrent injuries. Right now, he is injured, but let's hope he comes back and he can get a few minutes in. Isco, you guys know how I feel about this guy. He had a good game against Levante. I'm not gonna lie, he had a good game, but I just don't think he can keep up that consistency. The third game, he kind of went back again into old Isco that we know doesn't really put in the effort, doesn't put in the work. Let's see if Ancelotti can keep him motivated. That's going to be the big question mark. If he can be motivated out there, if he starts getting a couple assists, a couple goals, and he kind of remembers what it was like to be that old Isco that once was fucking a magician, then we could have a really good fucking midfield with Kroos, Modric, Casemiro, Isco, Valverde. And now let's talk about our newest signing, Camavinga. I am so excited to watch him play and see what he has to offer for us. I haven't seen him play much in real life, which is why I'm going to give you guys a little insight. I'm going to be making a video reacting to his best highlights and kind of analyzing his playing style to see what he has to offer for Real Madrid. Because let's not lie to ourselves, guys. I know a lot of us have never seen Camavinga play in real life. Let's not lie to ourselves. So I think this would be a really cool video for us to kind of get a better idea of how he plays, analyze it a little more, to see what we can expect and hopefully see out of him for this coming season. I'm hoping Ancelotti gives him a good amount of playing time. Being that he is a new signing, I can expect it. So let's, with that being said, let's move on to the attackers, the final line of this video. I hope it's not getting too long. And let's just go ahead and start off with Eden Hazard, a player who, I mean, guys, y'all know how I feel about him too. I don't have that much optimism for him. There's a lot of questions. Is he gonna stay injury-free? That's number one. He's had so many recurrent injuries with his ankle, with muscular injuries. Can he stay away from those? And then if he can he get over his fear of getting injured and start performing like the Chelsea Hazard that we once saw? I think those days are long gone for him. It's hard to kind of get that confidence back, but it's not impossible. I'm not gonna lie, the first 3 games that he's played, he hasn't excited me too much. He seems like he gets the ball and he still doesn't want to take on players too much. He already got an assist, a bit of a lucky one, but he got an assist this season. So it's gonna be kind of interesting. I'm gonna kind of jump to Vinicius Jr., which is kind of like his main rival right now. And it just feels like whenever Vinicius Jr. comes onto the field, he already has the motivation to show something. He's on another pace, on another level. And so far this season, he's shown us that he's already improving on the one thing that he was lacking, which was finishing. 3 games, 3 goals. He has already matched his highest scoring tally from last season and the season before that. So Vinicius Jr. is already off to a phenomenal start. The question is he going to be able to maintain that? He's a player that is on and off a lot. You know, he has his ups and he has his downs. He has his highs, he has his lows. Can he find maybe a more consistent? He doesn't have to be in those highs that he reaches sometimes, but just more consistent, you know, scoring a goal every 2 games, an assist every 2 games. Something like that would lead him to be in 10, 12 goals per season. And that's all we could really ask from him right now. He doesn't have to be the next Ronaldo, right? Just be consistent, okay? Benzema, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about him. We know he's going to be our starter. We know what he can do. He's going to just deliver goals here and there, here and there, here and there. And let's just hope he can stay away from injuries, because the moment that Benzema gets injured is the moment that I'll be extremely worried for our season. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to bless this guy right now. Please, Karim Benzema, stay away from injuries. Let's move on to Marco Asensio. Marco Asensio, a guy that doesn't really get injured, so that's not really a problem that I'm worried about him. It's just he goes so many games sometimes without doing much. And then out of nowhere, he'll show up with a few goals, but then he goes again and disappears. I think he's not really a player made for the wings. He plays much better whenever he's playing in the midfield as a center attacking mid, and I think Ancelotti's finally starting to realize that. So I hope he puts him there more often. He's so left-footed that sometimes whenever he's on one side, it limits his abilities and his options to do so many things. So if he can just stay down the middle and just have both sides of the field for players to play in and show us his creativity, because he's a creative player. He is a creative player with a lot of talent. Then I think we may start seeing the best Asensio. Mariano, fuck that guy. Moving on. Rodrigo is a player that, in my opinion, this is his season. This is Rodrigo's season. He has in front of him Bale and, well, Asensio if he plays actually in the right wing. And I think Rodrigo is a better player out of the two. Younger, more potential. He just needs to find that motivation and that want to take that spot. He's shown us what he's capable of, but just like Vinicius Jr., he is not as consistent as we would want. Good thing for him, he has 2 players in front of him that are also not consistent. So all it takes is for him to find a good rhythm, start getting a couple assists, and he can become our starter. I would much rather see Rodrigo as our starter than Bale or Asensio. Let's move on to Bale. A player who tends to have really good starts to the season and then right away disappears. Let's see if he can pick Real Madrid over golf this season for his last season at Real Madrid and just deliver a few goals. Someone that is very good in the air, has pretty good finishing overall, so he can definitely put in 6, 7, maybe 8 goals a season. 8 goals that would have been super nice last year, and 8 goals that would have been enough to be the second top scorer of the team last season. So if Bale can just kind of start putting in a few goals coming off the bench or just as a starter, I'll be so happy with him. I don't have expectations of him to be the leader of the team and just take on the being the star of the show. He's far from that now. But if he can just give us a few goals here and there, I will be so happy with him. So that's that for Bale. And the last player that we're going to be talking about is Luka Jovic, another player that has been super inconsistent, hasn't really showed us anything at Real Madrid ever since he arrived. Such little goals for a striker. And I just don't know. Can he reach the levels that he once reached in Frankfurt? Probably not. But at the same time, can he just come in every other game and just score a header, score something? Maybe once every 3 games. That's all we need from him. A few goals. That's the main thing I ask from most of our strikers. We just have such a problem scoring goals and finishing that if they can just find some sort of consistency, scoring a few goals here and there, we're going to be fine because our midfielder is going to be solid. The defense, let's just hope that overall the defense can find some sort of consistency too. Consistency is the biggest question, right? Now that we've kind of reached the end of this video, we realize that the theme for this season is going to be consistency. We have a lot of players that have flares of good moments and then they go on lows for such a long time. If we can find a consistency, then I think we're going to have no problem taking this La Liga. Alright guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. We've reached the end of the video. I really want to hear all your thoughts. It's gonna be a long season. There's gonna be lots of ups and downs. I can already tell you here, it might be one frustrating one because we weren't able to sign Mbappe. But keep in mind that it's another transition season where players can grow. This is another growing season until next one. So with that being said, guys, let me know down in the comments. Make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, because next video we're gonna be kind of putting all these players into the two teams to see how good we have, how strong our first team is, which I think is gonna be a pretty good team, but most importantly, how strong is our second B team. Alright guys, so with that being said, I'll see you for that video, and as always, a la Madrid.